Hi, welcome again to the Old Principle. I am the Old Principle, and this is Lesson 81. Okay, Lesson 81. Qualities of survival. Okay, to survive something is to 生存下去. Qualities in this case is what it takes to survive. 需要什么才能够生存? And by the way, this story had a real author. The author is Charlie Plumb. I don't know whether he's still alive or not, but when I read this, I thought, not bad. So I'm going to share with him his story. There's a lot of words in this one, but that's okay. It's okay to learn new words because new words you can use again and again. So with that, we ask Mrs. Ash to join us, if you don't mind, and she's going to read us the story, number 81, Qualities of Survival.
That's right.
Several years ago, I found myself a long way from home in a small prison cell. As a prisoner of war, I was tortured, put to shame, starved, and left to waste away in a filthy cell for 6 years. It's important that you get a vivid mental picture of this scene. Try your best to smell the stench in the bucket I called my toilet. Taste the salt in the corners of my mouth from my sweat, my tears, and my blood. Feel the steaming tropical heat in a tin-roofed prison cell. You'll probably never be a prisoner of war, but here are the basic challenges I faced in my prison cell. Fear, loneliness, a feeling of failure, and a breakdown of communication. What qualities do you have within you that would allow you to survive in a prison camp? Please pause here and think of at least 5 different qualities that you would need in order to survive. As I worked my way through the first several months and then years of imprisonment, I found I already had a foundation of survival tools. I learned them in life from my parents, my church, and my teachers. And the life-saving techniques I used in that prison camp had more to do with my value system, integrity, and religious faith than anything I had learned from textbooks. Sound like your life? The troubles you face in your life can be just as disabling to you as my 6 years in a prison camp were for me. To be able to survive through hard times of life, you will need to build a strong religious faith. That will help you to develop a value system that will allow you to withstand the pressures that would otherwise wear you down and break your spirit.
Okay, thank you so much. And now we tell Charlie Plumb's story. Okay, when he wrote this, I would say that this was probably after the Vietnam War, 越南战争之后. Okay, so here's what he wrote. Several years ago, I found myself, of course, to find yourself somewhere, that's I was going to say poetic or a nice way of saying I was a long ways from home. It It just means that I found myself. You don't find yourself, do anything. But in English, it's an idiom that says, I found myself means I discovered or I was, just was, a long way from home, a long, long, long ways from home in a small prison cell. Okay? Small, prison, 监牢的牢 cell, 房 牢房 okay, 牢房 okay, going on. As a prisoner of war, okay, a prisoner of war, sometimes we say POW, POW, POW. Prisoner of war, POW, is 战犯, right? So as a prisoner of war, I was tortured. Okay, what does it mean when you torture someone? It means that you hurt them very, very badly. To hurt them. Usually to make them admit, 要他们说出来，他们不愿意说出来的话 or to break their spirit, 要把他们的精神崩溃 or something like that. So I was tortured, put to shame, 羞辱 okay, put to shame, 是被羞辱 starved, that means that they didn't give me much food, 是要饿死我 and left to waste away. Okay, 放在一旁要等死 okay, left to waste away in a filthy cell, 很肮脏的牢房 okay, for how many years? 6 years. You ever figure how long 6 years is? Wow, that's more than how many? More than 2,000 days? More than 2,000 days. And you are, catch this now, this, if you have one bad day, 一天过得不好 okay, you know, that's okay. How about more than 2,000 days? 不简单. He was a prisoner of war, okay, 战犯. He was tortured, he was hurt. He was put to shame, 羞辱, and left to die, okay, and left to waste away. To waste away means 渐渐的就等死. To waste away. Waste in this case means slowly. To left to die. For 6 long years. Going on. It is important that you have a vivid mental picture of the scene. It is important that you have a vivid mental picture of the scene. Okay? Mental picture is what you see in your mind. Okay? This is what you see in your mind. The picture that you imagine or you see in your mind. Vivid means clear. Clear. A clear picture. A very clear, 很清楚的, okay, picture of the scene. 画面. Okay? 画面. Going on. Try your best to smell the stench. Okay? So now we're going to try to smell, okay, 要闻到一个味道, okay? The stench, okay? Do you know what stench is? stench is 臭味. Okay, 臭味. Very, 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 very hard to smell. Yeah. Have you smelled something very terrible? In the bucket, a bucket is usually a 水桶, 水桶, okay? In this case, a 便桶, okay? That I called my toilet, 我叫它是我的马桶, 抽水马桶. Going on. Taste the salt in the corners of my mouth. Taste the salt in the corners of my mouth. You know something? Sometimes when you sweat a lot and 这个出汗很多, what happens? You see a little bit of salt, 这个盐呢, forming right here. Okay? So obviously, it's a hot place. Taste the salt in the corners of my mouth from my sweat, 我的汗来的. My tears and my blood. 这个盐也是从他的眼泪，也是从他的血. So, this is not a happy picture. This person is suffering, 很惨. Okay, very much suffering. Going on. Feel the steaming tropical heat. Steaming, 蛮热的热带. Okay, 蛮热的热带. Tropical heat. Okay, inside a tin-roofed prison cell. 那个牢房的屋顶是 what? 铁皮. Tin-roofed. 铁皮. Now, I don't know if you can see this picture, but there is no insulation. So the sunlight comes down, 这个太阳照在这个铁皮上, okay? And the sunlight comes down, and inside the room, it's like inside the 牢房, okay? It actually becomes like what? 烤箱机. Like an oven. So hot. Sometimes we even use the term, if we go into a hot room, 很炎热的一个房间呢, okay? And we are inside of this very hot room, we often say, oh, it's like an oven in here. Don't we say that? 这个好像烤箱机一样. Okay? So, going on. You'll probably never be a prisoner of war. Okay? This is what Charlie Plum was saying. 那个人他是这样说，或许你不会做那个战犯。But here are the basic challenges. 我基本上的挑战是在此. Okay? I faced in my prison cell. 就是在我的这个牢房所面临的挑战就是以下. Going on. Fear. 惧怕. Loneliness. 孤单. Okay? Or 孤独. Feeling of failure. 感到一个好像你是失败. Now remember, we're not talking about one day. We're talking about 6 years. Feeling 感到失败. And a breakdown of communication. Communication 是沟通已经 破了。You can't talk with people. You can't talk with your family. You can't talk with others. You can't even talk to the people who are controlling you. No communication. Breakdown, 破大。这个 going on. What qualities do you have within you? 在你自己，你有什么样的？你说这个性格上，什么样的 qualities 使你 would allow you 只要能够生存 survive 生存在一个 prison camp 这个是营地啊战犯的这个营地 going on please pause here 请你等一等啊请你等一等 and think of at least 5 different qualities 所以他就说 OK stop right now 你要想一想有 5 different qualities that you would need to survive 这是为了要生存呢不要死你需要什么样的思想什么样的看法态度才能够生存 going on as I worked my way through the first several months 头几个月的时候 worked my way through means as I 应付 to work your way through is to 应付 or 面临 okay the first several months and then years 一个月 okay how many 6 years 6 times 12 is 72 months that's a long more than 2,000 days of my imprisonment imprisonment means to be put into prison so he was in a prison 他在监牢里 I found I already had a foundation 他说我发现 I found 我发现我已经有些基础or we say a foundation of survival tools 生存的工具的一些基础 in other words there were some things about him some of the attitudes 态度 some of his ways of thinking some of his habits some of his his work ethic all of these were very helpful to him going I learned them in life from my parents 我是从我的父母亲学来的 from my church 从我的教会学来的 and 从我的老师学来的 I might say that everything you and I do, we learn something from it. And what I learned yesterday probably will be helpful tomorrow. Understand? What I learned yesterday and what he learned from his parents, from his church, and from his teachers were useful during this time, this terrible time as a prisoner going on. And the life-saving, okay, to life-save is 救命, right? Life-saving, okay, techniques, 方法, okay? I used in that prison camp, 就是在那个场地我所用的 I had more to do with my value system. 其实呢，对我的价值观呢， 非常非常有关呢。Going on. Integrity, 正直. Or sometimes we say integrity, don't we say honesty? Honesty, 老实. And religious faith, 连我自己的信仰是非常非常重要 than anything I had learned from textbooks. Sorry, this is such a long sentence, but basically he said, I learned, you start at the end of the sentence, actually, okay? You start at the end and say, what I learned was better than what I learned from textbooks. And what did I learn? I learned things about value system. You don't learn those in textbooks. 这个课本根本就学不到价值观啊 Okay? Religious faith, 信仰也不是在课本学来的了 And integrity, 老实正直这些呢不是课本来的东西 Okay, going on. Sound like your life? 会不会这个有一点点像你的生命啊你的生活你的人生呢 Okay? The troubles you face in your life, 你所面临的一些问题困难等等 can be just as disabling. Disabling, okay? To disable something means to 使它无力 No, so if I am going to disable a machine or disable a light or anything, I stop it. So the troubles you face, 你面临的问题肯定当然不像我的那么厉害这个是他说的But it can be 同样可以使你无力Okay, as my 像我6年做战犯 in the prison camp for me. So sometimes when we face these things, they can be very disabling. So it's important to have, what did they say? Again, 价值观, a value system, honesty, 学这个老实正直 and what else? Maybe religious faith. Okay, going on. To be able to survive through hard times, 你面临困难的时候 everybody has hard times. Sometimes I look at my life, you know, I'm the old principal, 老校长, and they say, well, how many hard times have you gone through? Actually, I think I'm pretty lucky. I haven't had very many hard times. But when we do have difficult times, 当我们面临困难的时候 you will need to build a strong faith. You will need to build a strong faith. Going on, 你一定要有一种信仰 Okay, 你的信仰你的价值观等等 that will help you develop a value system. 这些东西会帮助你这个建立一个价值观 a value system that will allow you to withstand 防止压力 See, It's the value system that you and I have. This value system, 价值观, the honesty that we have learned, this will allow you, 会使你, in this case, means 会使你, allow you to withstand 防止, okay, the pressures. 什么样的压力呢? That otherwise would wear you down. 会使你慢慢渐渐的还有然后打破你的精神. Many people I have met as a 老校长, as a principal. I have met many people who have broken spirits. 他的精神已经破了. And it appears to me that the reason why is 他们的基础不好. Their foundation was very weak. They did not have a value system. And I honestly feel, and this is my own personal experience, that religious faith, 一个人的信仰, 对他来说是 very, very important. With that, you can 防止很多苦难. Well, that's all the time we have for. Let's take a look at where you can write. We have an email address, theoldprinciple@gmail.com. Okay, theoldprinciple@gmail.com. 我们的网站也是 www.theoldprinciple.org. www.theoldprinciple.org. With that, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.